we're looking at the working with cylinders, and we're looking at exactly the surface area of cylinders. We talked about that a little bit on last week, and we said that when it comes to a cylinder, we have the two circles, the top and the bottom, and we have the lateral surface area, right? So the lateral surface area, we talked about it, and we said that it forms a rectangle, right? And we said that this rectangle is made of two things. It's made of the circumference of the circle, so the length of the circumference of the circle, which is 2 pi r, and the width is the height of the cylinder, and that's where the formula for the surface area of a circle, of a cylinder, is 2 pi r h plus the areas of the two circles. So what's the area of one circle? Pi r squared. Because I have two of them, that makes it 2 pi r squared. Right? We talked about this last week. Okay? Any questions about where this is coming from? Okay? So this is where the surface area, or the formula of the surface area of a cylinder comes in from. Okay? Now, again, it depends on what kind of question you have. Like, let's say if I'm asking you to find, one of the questions will be asking you to find the surface area of a pipe. What's special about a pipe? It got holes on the other hand, on the two other ends, right? So that means you don't have these two circles, right? So you're not finding the surface area of these two circles, are you? No. So what would be, how would your formula work then? Just the lateral surface area, right? So it would be just 2 pi r h. Okay? If I'm asking you, for example, to calculate the surface area of a cup for me. A cup, a cylindrical cup.
So the bottom
That's right. So you're going to be the 2 pi r h plus only 1 pi r squared, right? Because you only have the bottom, right? You don't need the lid. There is no lid, right? Otherwise, it's not a cup, right? So you have to use this formula here to, and it's alternative, right? Depending on what you have in that scenario. The area of the lateral surface area does not change. It's always 2 pi r h. Okay? That does not change. Are we okay with that? So this is an easy question. It's asking you to find the surface area of the following cylinder. They gave you the radius and they gave you the height, right? So your radius, because that's all what you need for a cylinder. You need the radius, you need the height. So the surface area is going to be 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. And it's a matter of just plugging in your information. First thing I looked at, made sure that both my units are in millimeters, right? So I don't have to do any conversions.
long number.
Yeah, we're expecting that, right? So I have 220,539.80, and that's going to be millimeter squared. Okay? What? Check your calculator. Okay? What if the question is giving me a a diameter instead of a radius. What's the difference between a diameter and a radius?
Diameter is twice of the radius. The radius is half.
That's right. Yes. So if I have a cylinder, right, and they told me that the diameter is, let's say, 40 millimeter, right? Diameter goes from one end to the other end of the circle, passing through the center, right? You can't use the diameter, you have to use the radius, and then you have to remember that the radius is diameter divided by 2. Okay? You guys okay with this? Any questions about the cylinder? Did it work? Huh? Moving to the spheres, if I would like you to look at your formula sheet and then find a sphere and tell me what would be the surface area formula for a sphere.
4 pi r.
4 pi r squared. So it's 4 times the area of one circle. Okay? So, the radius of the following sphere is 28 centimeter. What's the surface area? Easy questions, right? You can't, this is like, I know the radius, I'm looking for the surface area. So surface area is equal to 4 pi r squared, and then it's a matter just by plugging in 28 for the radius, and then doing your calculation.
9,800 divided by 52.03.
And then your units.
Centimeters squared.
Now, to change the question a little bit, a ball has a surface area of approximately 9,900 centimeters square. What's its radius? Sorry? Square. That's a 2. So if you have a surface area of 9,900 centimeters square, and that's the surface area of a ball, what's the radius? What's the shape of a ball?
This is circle.
It's not a circle.
It's
a sphere.
Sphere.
It's
sorry.
a sphere. Yes. Circle is 2D, sphere is 3D.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a sphere. I'm looking for the radius, I know the surface area. Where do I start?
So to take the 4 pi r square equal the 9,900.
Okay, so
To find the r.
perfect. Right? So first I'm going to start writing my formula down. Surface area is equal to 4 pi r squared. Right? I know the surface area. I am looking for the radius. Okay? So I'm going to replace 9,900. I'm going to replace the surface area with 9,900. And then it's going to equal to 4 pi r squared. What would you like to do now?
Multiply by 4 pi. Sorry, divide. Sorry, divide by 4 pi.
Divide by 4 pi. That's the first thing you have to do, right? You have to divide by 4 pi first, because you want to isolate for r right? And then to isolate for r, first thing you're gonna get rid of is whatever is multiplied by r, right? So you're going to, there is a multiplication here. To bring it over, it's gonna become division. Make sure that when you enter this in the calculator, divided by 4 pi, you either put it as actual 4 pi, or if you're gonna put 4 times pi, you have to put it in bracket, okay? I want you to try that, make sure that you're getting that correct, all right? So if you're putting just 4 pi as is, you don't need the bracket. If you're putting 4 times pi, you need the bracket at the bottom.
28.606.
That's not the
I mean
r
after.
squared.
I mean after.
Okay.
that.
We can't do. It's okay. Okay. Make sure that you're getting
787.816.
You got that? Okay. You can put it as a whole. Okay, how about this one? Count as or whatever. So you can put it on these calculators. You can
Learning
say-
on this one, so I'm gonna have to relearn that one.
Okay, now what's the last step here? Are you putting pi as well? Yeah. You're gonna have to put them in.
One decimal place or two?
No, two is good. First bracket. Okay, so now 0, 0, divided by 4 over 5. Okay, what's the last step here? Square root. So you're getting rid of the square, so you have to square root, and that's going to be
I have one question. So you rounded the second decimal, right? So why you didn't round the first one? So I got this.
yeah,
0.668.
8.
So
Yep.
0.7. So instead of to put 28.
Because you want 2 decimal, right?
28.
So 28.068. If you want 2 decimal, then you look at the third one. If the third one is greater than 5, then you raise this one.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. The Earth's radius is 6,370 kilometers. Let's determine the circumference, and then we're assuming that it's a perfect sphere. That the Earth is a perfect sphere. Sorry. So if you're looking at this, right now, Earth is a 3D shape, right? Circumference is basically
The previous?
it's a 2D shape, right? It's the outside of the 2D shape, right? So if I have the sphere, I don't have a sphere here. and I'm looking for the circumference. I'm taking the widest circle of that sphere, and I'm looking for the actual circumference of that. I don't know what equator, I guess. If you're looking at the equator, you're looking at the circumference of that equator. Okay? So if you have the sphere, I can't even draw this, I'm sorry. Like if you have the sphere here, let's take this one, right? If you're looking for the circumference, you're taking the widest point, and then you're finding the circumference of that point. Okay? So in this case, it's going to be, again, because it's the circumference, we're just doing the 2 pi r.
Is it the same premier, right?
Sorry?
Is it the same premier?
I don't know what you mean by premier.
Is it this one? I mean the circle. Where's
Yeah.
the one? Is it
Yeah.
the same?
And it will be 2 pi r, yeah? Right? Because it's a 2D shape. So 2 pi r, right? And it's going to be 2 pi times 6370, and then you're finding the answer for that. Okay? And what's the unit for this one?
Kilometer?
Just a kilometer. Yep. No, because you're only looking at the circumference, which is the outside, right? And the circumference is like the perimeter. Okay. There's no just the outside, so you don't square that. Now, if you're looking for the surface area of Earth, this is where you're going to have to use the 4 pi r squared, right? Because you're looking at the surface area of the sphere. And that's going to be a big number. What's the unit for this one?
Kilometer square.